to you by Express Care Health and Skin Center. Get in, get out, get better.
All right, my friends, Hafaday, and welcome back. This is, of course, our Healthy Living edition of KUM News Extra. Now, according to the National Commission on Sleep Disorders research, at least 40 million Americans suffer from chronic long-term sleep disorders, and another 20 to 30 million people experience occasional sleep problems. Once again, we welcome Dr. Jitka Lom from Express Care in studio. She's going to take your questions on a sleep problem. But, Doctor, I thought I'd start some stuff off. So, I guess the first question is, of course, the most obvious. Sleep disorders is maybe broadly defined and everything, and some people say, well, there's a difference between insomnia or sleep apnea or narcolepsy and everything. So maybe differentiate between those.
Sure. Well, there are 4 kinds of sleep disorders in general. The first one is insomnia, which is difficulty getting to sleep or staying asleep. So your length of time asleep is shortened. The second problem that people have is sleep apnea, where they have snoring problems during the nighttime, where it's difficult for them to maintain a good quality of sleep. A third kind of problem that they have is narcolepsy, where they're falling asleep during the day, where basically they cannot maintain wakefulness. And the fourth problem is sleep behavior problems, such as sleepwalking, sleep talking, and night terrors. Mm-hmm.
Now, I would say, based on like my own limited scientific knowledge, that it may seem like insomnia may be a little bit more behavioral or psychosomatic. Sleep apnea might be something that's like very serious. Is that more with the contours of your own body, like like the way your mouth closes or your throat and everything like that? And then with narcolepsy, that's actually like a real serious problem.
Right, you're absolutely right. In our body, we have a mind, body, and spirit connection. Try to think of that as a triangle. And in our sleeping hours, we feel and experience those 3 much more than during the daytime. So our body may affect the way we sleep. For example, you mentioned the sleep apnea. The quality of our sleep may be affected by our nose if it's blocked, mm-hmm. if our throat is very large, if we're very heavy, if we're taking medications or eating the wrong way or drinking or smoking too much. Those things are physical things that will affect our sleep. Then we also have our mind, which affects our sleep, such as stress, depression, worries about our daytime life experience, mm-hmm. that may affect the quality of our sleep. And then we have our spiritual aspect, which may also affect our sleep as people ponder the realities of their life here on earth.
Mm-hmm. Now, getting a good sound sleep, and it's so often preached, but I would dare to say so rarely practiced, that people actually knock out and then they get 8 straight hours of good quality rest throughout the night, especially parents.
Right.
How does one know, like, when they're actually starting to experience sleep problems?
Well, sleeping should be kind of like breathing, where you don't think about it, you don't talk about it, it's not really an issue for you. So if you're finding that you're actually contemplating your sleep, then maybe you have a bit of a problem, especially if you're finding that there's daytime fatigue, if there is a lack of energy, the desire to take a lot of naps, not functioning at your highest ability, maybe memory problems, concentration problems, mood problems such as depression, focusing difficulties, also physical ones such as headaches.
Mm-hmm. Is this also a compound problem that people may have something in their conscious or maybe their subconscious more appropriately that's keeping them awake at night, and then they begin to worry about it more during the day, and thus kind of exacerbates the problem?
Exactly. That's actually called that is actually one sleep disorder by itself, where it becomes a vicious cycle where the sleep causes anxiety, the anxiety causes more problems about going to sleep, and so on. Mm-hmm. Yes.
So at what point should I consult people like yourself, and should I say, I think I've got a problem, I need some help?
Right. So the first thing to do is to actually establish good sleep hygiene, and that means establishing a proper bedtime. Hopefully, that's if you're not a shift worker, if you're a daytime worker, then it would be in the evening, getting to bed by 9 or 10 at the latest. Establishing a quiet routine before bed, so you would eat maybe around 6 or 7, no later than 2 hours before your bedtime, no alcohol, and then having a very boring evening. So nothing very stimulating, action movies, no. We're just,
I got that part covered.
Yeah, we're just going to rest and relax, think good thoughts for the last couple of hours before bed. No strenuous exercise, and hot baths seem to make it worse too.
That's interesting about no exercise, because I would think that,
getting
actually,
tired.
exerting yourself and everything, the fatigue wouldn't Would that help?
For most people, it's stimulating, so they will have difficulties. Not everybody,
Okay.
but most people will find that too stimulating. So then getting to bed at a reasonable hour, maybe either the glass of hot milk or a little bit of chamomile tea or something before bed, and then trying to go to sleep, giving yourself 30 minutes to 1 hour to fall asleep. If you don't, get out of bed and do something very non-challenging, like organizing your sock drawer or something that's, you know, not stimulating to your mind at all, but getting out of bed to just break that pattern, and then getting back into bed. And then in the morning, establishing a wake-up time, not sleeping past that, and getting a good 30 minutes of exercise in bright light.
So maintaining a positive mental
Yeah.
attitude and a good organized regimen.
Yes. If
Okay.
you do that first, and all of that doesn't work, then you need help.
Okay. Well, tell you what, sit tight because we've got a lot of questions that we took from our online audience this weekend that we'd like to share with you and get your feedback on.
Okay.
All right, so stay tuned, my friends, because when we come back, the good doctor will answer your questions. That's coming up next, right here on Healthy Living. Stay tuned.